So there's a small YouTube channel named Lil Tay, and oh boy, I don't even know where to begin. I'm just gonna get straight into this. Basically, TLDR, for those of you who somehow don't know who Lil Tay is, Lil Tay used to be this famous person, quote unquote famous for all the wrong reasons, where basically she was like this 9, 10-year-old little kid that was just flexing money. She was basically known as the little girl Jake Paul version, basically. With that being said, a few disclaimers. First of all, please do not go harassing the people mentioned in this video, especially Lil Tay. She's had it rough in her childhood, and I really just wanted to talk about this, but please do not go harassing the people mentioned in this video. And second of all, nothing I say here is really fact, really, but it's just more things that I've observed personally and things that I've seen on the internet from my experience. So yeah, nothing here is fact. I'm not really professional. I don't have any degrees, and I just really want to get right into this because I really need to talk about this. This is something that's pretty important to me. That's something that I've been passionate about. So yeah, with that being said, let's begin. All right, now that with the intro out of the way, I am really concerned for the future of people who live in capitalistic societies, at least, because I haven't seen this really in certain other societies that are communist. And I'm not saying that I'm like a communist or anything like that. In fact, I'm full capitalist. But this is a concern of mine because, you know, every single type of economic system has trade-ups. And one of those things is the fact that people will desperately find many ways to make money as they can without any self-regard. And this is something that I have just recently seen. Shout out goes to Dolan Darkest for giving me the video idea to talk about this. In fact, he actually just made a slop live about it like a little while ago, like a few minutes ago, right before I recorded a video that I was supposed to post today, but instead I'll just move that back to tomorrow. And I'm not saying that Lil Tay should be bound to her kid audience, or at least, you know, pander towards kids, because that's not something that you should be doing. Your audience grows and changes over time, meaning eventually your content's gonna have to change as well. But for her to change from flexing, which is pretty stupid honestly, to opening up an OnlyFans, that is so insane to me. I can't even think about the idea of growing up as a kid, flexing, and then after that having to degrade yourself the second you turn into an adult, so that way these sick, creepy people start paying for her OnlyFans. Again, I've always been saying this, especially for the Piper Raquel video, but also just for kid influencers in general. But I really think that people who make an OnlyFans like the second they turn 18, instead of actually taking some time to think about it or reevaluate other sources of income before opening up an OnlyFans, I've always found that to be really depressing, depriving, and absolutely just straight up diabolical. Like, you can't be doing stuff like this, you know? And just the fact that people greenlit this idea, I'm very sure that her social media managers have greenlit this idea. I don't really think it's her. I think she was just like, yo, should I really do an OnlyFans? And all the managers were like, yes, that would make so much money. And I really blame the managers. I really blame them having her not open up an OnlyFans. And it's not to say that I don't think OnlyFans models should like burn up to a crisp and die and get sent to hell. No, it's not like that. I firmly believe that OnlyFans and all types of porn work are only meant as a last resort. I have no problem if you're a prostitute. But the problem here is that she already has money. She already has so much wealth. But she has to open up an OnlyFans to get more wealth. That's just not the right thing to do. You already have so much money. You do not need to deprive yourself of your dignity to let people see you naked in order to make money. That shouldn't be the case at all. You are very wealthy. And sure, let's just say that your mother took away all of that. You have a really good YouTube channel. You collaborated with Piper Raquel, and let me get back to you on that one in a little bit, guys. But you know, that's just something that you should really consider more carefully. AKA, don't do it because you already have successful social media careers. You don't need to rely on your body to make this type of work. And for those of you snot sniveling, drool drinking, stupid idiots who say, oh yeah, no, this is empowering, Willie Tato, you just don't understand that because you're not a female. Yeah, that I know. That's why I say this is just my opinion. I'm not certified to say anything. I'm not a woman. Therefore, I can't speak on behalf of all women. I don't know what's empowering for women. But what I can say is that letting everybody see your body the second you turn 18 and just pandering to that audience that's been waiting for you to turn 18 so that way they can jack off to you, that is really sickening in my opinion. And that's not empowering in any way whatsoever. Prostitution work is not empowering, despite what social media has told people. How ironic, a guy on social media telling other people that social media has done something bad. Yeah, I know, ha ha ha, you can laugh all you want, but things like this are not funny. Like, people are now growing up, and they are now aspiring to become a prostitute. What is going on these days? And I don't really know the proper definition of a prostitute. In my opinion, at least, I think that a prostitute is someone who sells off their body in general as a product. And photos of that body is considered, in my opinion, at least a product. Therefore, that kind of makes her a prostitute, in my opinion. That's a very strict definition of it. There's a much looser interpretation of that. There are children out there growing up wanting to sell naked pictures of themselves in order to make money. That is so weird. Like, does anyone else not think that that's weird? And on top of that, I really feel like the age gap for that, or like the age requirement to be selling pictures of yourself, it should be much higher. Because sure, let's just throw away my belief that I feel like adults should be older than 18. The second you turn 18 and you already made $1 million in 3 hours, all those fast food workers, all those minimum wage employees, they are really just shaking their fist right now. And B, that is so weird that people are waiting for people to turn 18. You know what that's called? That's called grooming, you know? That's called grooming, when you're waiting for someone to turn 18 so that way you can have a sexual relationship of some kind with them. That's textbook grooming. And back to the whole Piper Raquel and Lil Tay thing, I genuinely think that Piper Raquel is going to be the next person. She's going to be the next kid influencer or ex-kid influencer who used to be a kid, and the second they turn into an adult, they're going to be selling up their OnlyFans. In fact, one of those pages already exists. So I'm pretty sure that Piper Raquel, pretty soon, because her birthday's rolling up this month, she's going to turn into an OnlyFans model or a Fansly model. And that is just really weird. I don't think that should be a thing at all. And in fact, I feel like there should be at least a 3-year age gap in terms of the age requirement and the age that they turn into an adult. So I think that at the very least, you should be 21 to be able to make an OnlyFans account. That's what I really think. I don't know about you guys, but in my opinion at least, you should at least wait until they are an older adult instead of a younger adult. Because then that just sounds weird. That plays into the whole barely legal narrative, and I feel like that is just really pedophilic on its own, in my opinion. That makes me feel like those people are just waiting for those people to grow up to become an adult. That is sickening. Again, I can't keep repeating this because it's going to be boring eventually, and people are going to say, yeah, I get it. But this is so weird, to be waiting to turn into an adult on the dot in order to make an OnlyFans account. That is just really weird. All I really have to say here, the lesson that I have to say is that at the end of the day, there is a cost-benefit analysis that you need to do when opening up an OnlyFans when compared to other sources of income, or if you already have income, and if you already have a lot of money. And yeah, it's just not worth it to sacrifice your dignity, because once people see you in that type, that's just not something that they can get rid of very easily. That is an image that is, at the very least, very, very subconsciously buried in their memory. And if not, then they can't stop seeing you in that way. And that's going to lead to a lot of problems in the future, you know, like socially speaking. And this is also why that they can't really socialize in society normally anymore. That's because people can't see them in a regular context. They can only see that person as, oh, I know that person because I've seen them before during their OnlyFans shoots, and that's it. So yeah, I mean, this is just sacrificing your social dignity and your social ability now. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I really got to say. Overall, I just really needed to talk about this real quick because this is a direction that is starting to signify that we are heading into late stage capitalism, where now everyone is making money off of everything, including their bodies, which is okay if you're an adult and you don't have any other methods of getting money. But for someone like Lil Tay and Piper Raquel, people who are kids who are used to be kids, are millionaires now. And they have so much money. They have more money than the average adult now can even fathom. But at this rate, I think they're just selling off their body in order to just make more money. And I don't really get it. And maybe if it was for like charity or something like that, then that would be a wild way to raise money for charity. But I don't really see them donating to charity. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, sure, it's legal, but just because it's legal, that doesn't mean it's ethical. And I just really wanted to talk about this real quick, mainly because it's fresh drama, but also because I just really genuinely feel like maybe I'm gonna have to open up an OnlyFans soon to make money, you know. But I'm not gonna do that. Obviously, that's really, yeah, that's gross. But anyways, yeah, I don't want to see my peers around me opening up OnlyFans so that way they can make more money off of deprived, sick individuals who are really interested in barely legal people, because that just sounds really weird and sounds like they're being groomed. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I really gotta say. I hope you all have a good day, and bye.